Here at Intoxicated Reviews, we intellectually dissect the art of cinema, scene by scene. Here's some clips.
All he is just a fucking big wooden doll full of cum, chasing kids around.
You look up guys who poop in a bag. Because I think that's where you'll find him. Because he is hurt.
It's probably just in your search history anyway, isn't it?
This movie fucking blows.
So don't forget to subscribe to Intoxicated Reviews on all places you find podcasts. Except Spotify. We're working on it.
Boys Club. Is it called Boys Club because my apartment looks like a boy lives in it?
I wouldn't say a boy lives in it. I would say a boy is kidnapped somewhere in here.
Boys Club.
We're everything. We're true crime. We're World Star Hip Hop.
World Star Hip Hop. We're Netflix reviews.
Stories of the day.
Boys Club.
Listen.
Yeah, do it. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. I think. No, we're not. And on Google Play. Nobody gives a shit.
Boys Club.
Boys Club Podcast. Now with 90% more sound clips of black people.
Boys Club.
Touch me, and I'll sue.
Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
You're good to go. You're rolling. All right. Do you feel at home?
Yeah.
Are these similar to the mics that you use at the radio
No.
station? No.
I'm not actually sure what the model is that we have, but I know in school we used RE20s.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. But our windscreens are much larger.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the mic itself is bigger as well. But yeah.
Okay. Well, size doesn't matter, Caitlin.
It really doesn't. Ours are also extremely elderly, like all the other equipment in our station. We're still using Audition 1.5. And
Shit.
I learned on version 6 in school.
Oh, really? Audition. See, I just use good old Audacity. Free program.
Oh, yeah. I remember Audacity.
Free and easy.
Just like me.
Free and easy. Just like both of us.
Cheers.
Guys, we're here on the... I'm actually going to do something different this time.
Okay.
Where you're going to be here for...
Do I look at the camera or you or myself?
You can look wherever you want. I just kind of look around, and I actually do look at the guest a lot when I'm just because I don't
we
like...
can have some serious eye contact.
Yeah, because I don't like looking at the camera. Eventually, I'd like to get a round table so that we're kind of more diagonally.
Oh, so you're not facing the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play with it. Like I might do a situation where I do two like one on you and one on me, like split screen.
Do like an over the shoulder.
There's
shot.
some fun things I could do. I don't know. I'm just trying to play with it and change it up. Because when you do the same thing every week, you're just like, I want to change it up. I'm actually going to change things up this week and do my intro to the podcast with you here with me rather than pre-recording it.
Okay.
I'm going to try.
All right.
Like an actual...
Is there anything I need to do? Like I don't
you
know,
just sit here until I tell you to talk. No.
That I can do.
So, hey everybody, welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. This is the Halifax comedy drinking variety talk show, is how I like to describe it. It's a variety podcast and a comedy podcast. So, this sucks already. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I was just like, I could talk, but you told me not to.
I don't like it. We are on social media, Intoxicated Podcast, on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter at @in_toxicated. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/intoxicated. That's where you can watch these episodes. It is a visual podcast now, not just an audio one.
I had to.
There's also a Patreon page, patreon.com/intoxicated. If you want to send me some money, that will go towards making the show better for you. So welcome, everybody. I'm very honored and excited to welcome an OG original gangster.
It's true.
An OG intoxicated guest. You've done 4 episodes?
Is this the 5th?
Let's see. So you were episode 3, I believe.
4.
4 of the original show.
Yeah.
And then
you did one with my ex.
One with your
which I still don't regret.
And then one with just you and I talking about music.
Okay, so I guess this is
So this is number 4.
Okay.
Caitlin Hartlen is here.
Yay! so happy to be back. Oh my god.
I'm very excited. It's really cool when people who have done the show, like you were episode 4. That's insane.
I've been here since the beginning.
Wow.
You had old music even, like it was different.
Yeah, everything.
Different logo, I want to say.
Oh, the logo was way different. Yeah, the logo was a piece of shit. I mean,
Did you make it though?
Yeah, I did. But I was doing my best. You know, that's the thing about podcasts. This is what I'm going to suggest. If you ever launch a podcast, don't rush the branding. Really think about what you want the branding to look like and make it cohesive. Because my branding kind of changes all the time. Like, I sometimes use like the neon Intoxicated logo. I sometimes use just like a basic font with like the whiskey glass. So I don't know. I can't decide. So I just do whatever I want.
That is the beauty of having your own, really. Because there's no one telling you can't.
That is true. And I just can't decide. So I'll just do everything.
I went through a similar thing when I got my show started. Because I came up with the name and I asked if it was okay to have a name and all that stuff, because like commercial radio doesn't really lend itself to that kind of branding usually, but I was like, I'm gonna.
Right.
So I came up with my own logo that I made in like Microsoft Paint, and it was garbage, but they used that as a basis and sent it to the graphic designer in the company, and he made like a decent logo for me.
There you go. Yeah. And honestly, like if you can afford to get someone who knows what they're doing, do it.
Well, I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
The company paid for it.
That's fair. Yeah. But it is fun to do on your own too. Like that, it is fun to just create exactly what you want.
I was super proud of it. And then, yeah, it was garbage and it made me feel a little bad, but I was also like, I made it in Paint and I'm not a graphic designer. So
yeah, it's the best you can do.
My ego's not that hurt over it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, self-teaching yourself stuff is hard. Like that's a skill in and of itself.
Big time.
Yeah.
You could record a whole podcast just about that.
Absolutely, about self-teaching.
I'm getting confused about the mediums because I'm not used to being on camera for Intoxicated. This is new for me. I was an OG audio guest.
And you were one of the few audio guests originally on the show that didn't mind having your picture out there. Like when I first started Intoxicated, a lot of my guests were talking about really personal things and they didn't feel comfortable having their face
I'm an open book
attached to it, but you were always an open book and I appreciate that about you.
Not everyone does.
But let's give the guests an idea. So your first episode was all about drag, or mostly about drag.
Yeah.
That was kind of the focus.
And sex, which my sister was not prepared for when she listened to it. I remember that being a thing. She texted me like, give me a warning next time.
Listen, I encourage everyone to share the podcast, but do it with, warn your relatives. Disclaimers.
I thought what I had said was sufficient, but apparently it wasn't. She was not prepared to hear about me going down on women. And now I've said it again, so hopefully she doesn't listen to this episode.
Oh, where's the bell? The bell needs to be in the middle.
Oh.
Yeah, it's needed. There we go. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, and
Sorry,
then
Tamsin.
And then your second episode was with your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, in my bed. That was like
I remember that. We do. So I used to go to the guests. Me and Caitlin were talking about this before the mics came on. I used to be mobile, so I would just bring my laptop and my mics to the guests that I was recording with. That was like a thing that I did. And now
we're very committed.
Now things are very different. There's a lot more stuff. But that was a fun one. It's always interesting when I do couples episodes and then they break up. I always feel really bad. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't feel very good about it either. But that's over a year ago now. I'm past it.
You're done. You're past it. Yeah. And then we did one about heartbreak and about music.
Yeah, the breakup playlist.
I really liked that.
That was a good episode. And we did that long distance too.
We did. So this is actually your first time in the studio, in the Sad Girl Studios. Recording here
Pretty
with
nice.
me in the chaos that is my life. So welcome back to Intoxicated.
Not even through the first one. I'm already burping. Apologies in advance.
Well, we are drinking.
Yeah.
So
I'm already halfway through.
Caitlin was such a sweetheart and offered to buy my alcohol, and I said, no, don't even think about it. Because I have plenty of vodka that I've been picking away at in my apartment. And you are drinking?
Garrison's Nut Brown, which was one of my go-tos when I lived here. And because the last episode, I had local beers from where I'm living now. So I thought it would be appropriate to switch it up and have local beers from home. So
We're
I
doing
brought
Garrison.
a crap ton of Garrison.
Oh, good on Garrison.
And they had like a deal for 6 beers. So I was like, well, I guess I'm getting
And it's like a
6.
little variety pack, right?
Yeah. Although there wasn't as much variety as I wanted because they were out of raspberry wheat, but I'll deal.
Is that your favorite? The raspberry wheat?
No, I just didn't necessarily want to double up on some of the other ones,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah. You enjoy the beer though, right? Like
I've gotten way more into it in my old age than I used to be. Because like when I first started drinking beer, I'm almost ashamed to say this, Canadian was my go-to.
Molson.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Even I know that's bad.
Well, and I'm also
beer noob.
ashamed that Alexander Keith's is like our flagship provincial beer because it's not good. I'm sorry.
It's
like I
not
know
the
that's
best.
sacrilegious of me to say as a Nova Scotian, but it's like Alexander Piss is a nickname for a reason.
Alexander Piss.
But Garrison, however, they have yet to make a beer I haven't liked.
I like their dirty blonde one actually, and their tall ships. Yeah,
Tall
like
Ships is another one that I brought.
I partake in the beer every now and then, but as listeners know, I'm not a huge beer fan. I am pretty strict on vodka sodas, and that's just because when you drink as much as I do, you gain weight from drinking.
Fair. And beer is fattening.
Beer is the worst thing you could drink.
Yeah.
But it is. But what I will say about beer is it's a good. Like if you're just going out for one drink, it's good to get a beer. Like in my mind, I would do a beer if I was going for a drink with someone because
did
I
that
wouldn't.
last week.
I wouldn't chug it like that. Because it's essentially water. I chug these too fast.
You don't think about what you're drinking.
I don't think about what I'm drinking, and then before I know it, I'm fucking 5 drinks in,
Oh,
and
shit,
I'm on a
I'm
first
hammered.
date with someone who's had one.
And that doesn't work out for you?
I'm like, shit, I'm out drinking my dates again.
I had one date while I've been here.
Ooh, actually, I gotta turn that sunlight on. Hold that thought. Pause.
I'll just stare at the camera.
Yeah, just slowly.
Is this doing it for you,
I
Cameron?
don't know if I did.
Are you into it?
I don't know dick all about lighting. I
learned some in school, like key, fill, backlight, all that kind of junk.
And sometimes I use a green screen, and that makes it even more complicated.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I purposely did not wear green just in case.
Well, I've been trying to tweak it because it hasn't been keen that great lately. And while I love the green screen, I don't like uploading a shitty video that looks all wonky. So until I perfect the green screen lighting, I'm gonna just stick with the glitter. But yeah, so we should catch everybody up. So you're living in Ontario.
Yes, Fort Francis, Ontario.
Middle of nowhere. And
Quite
tune
literally.
into that episode we did remotely with Caitlin when she was in Fort Francis going through a breakup.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks after the breakup, I want to say. Like, it was really soon after.
Real fresh. I'm known to grab my friends when they're heartbroken and just be like, come on and talk about it.
It's honestly a miracle I didn't just bawl during that.
Yeah, truly though.
I think I was like holding it back.
I think you were. I think there was like a voice
Pretty sure I
crack
cried
every-
afterwards.
Most of my
if
guests
memory
do.
serves.
I'm like, what just
Well,
happened?
this is like a therapy session, right? So that's normal. It's okay. It's all right to have feelings.
Most of us can't afford therapy, so this is
Thankfully, mine was free.
what therapy is.
So
Yeah.
I lucked out.
There you go.
Counseling, do it.
Do it. I've been fucking trying. I wish no one wants therapy more than me. Truly. Like I would love it.
But mental health care is kind of a joke in Nova Scotia. I assume it hasn't changed since I left.
No. I called in April. And I've been on a wait list ever since then. And now my benefits are done. So I won't be able even to afford it now if they called me. That said, like, depending on how I'm doing financially, I might just do it anyway. But it's like,
YOLO, as the kids say.
what, like 150 or 175 an hour? Something like that.
Seems
normally.
like a lot.
It's very high.
Excuse me.
Pretty.
I tried to mask it and it didn't work at all. Fuck. Sorry,
It's
Mom.
okay. We can take the burping sounds because they're associated with drinking, which is on brand for this show.
I'm
so.
just like a burpy human. It doesn't even have to
I
be
can't
beer.
burp.
What?
Yeah, I can't.
That should be on your Tinder profile.
It literally, like, if I tried, like, I just, God, don't
I mean,
don't
that's-
isolate those clips.
That's not how you burp. But so maybe that's why it's not working for you. That's more of a gag before you throw up.
I can burp. I'll burp if I'm about to puke or something. But like if someone was just like burp now, I just can't do it.
I mean, I don't know if I can do it on command.
No. But
Hang on. There.
Of course you can.
They ask me how I'm single.
Anyone who can burp can do it on command, I feel like. But yeah, so you moved to Fort Francis, Ontario. You're in radio, so you host a radio show.
I do.
Early morning radio?
Yeah.
Oof.
My shift is 6 to 12.
Oof.
Well, 5 to 12.
Now, do you find that hard?
Yeah. I'm not a morning person, and I haven't become one in the like year and a quarter that I've been doing this. I don't know. I've adjusted, but I'm also, I know I don't want that to be the rest of my life. Like I will eventually move on from the morning show, probably.
Yeah.
Because like getting up at 4 is
That is
a lot.
brutal.
It
I'm usually up till 4.
cuts down on the social life the night before. That said, living in Fort Francis, it's not like there's much to do that goes later than like 8 p.m. So it hasn't really been an issue in that regard.
That's true. And do you go to bed early? Like, are you someone who's good at going to bed early?
I
or
should
no?
go to bed early.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
lately, and by lately, I mean like the last probably 6 months, it's been more like 10 to midnight-ish on me getting to bed when I should be going at like 9 if I actually want to get a good night's sleep.
Yikes. That's
Yeah.
so fucking early.
I'm not the most responsible with that.
I don't
But
blame
I've
you,
also
though.
gotten
That'd be
used
so
to
hard.
like running on very little sleep, like which is probably not healthy either. That'll probably catch up with me at some point.
I mean,
But I can take naps in the afternoon because I'm off by noon, generally speaking. Like it does vary. It depends on what I have going on that day.
okay.
And then sometimes I will work a shift and then go to remote or something like that. So then that's a long day. Like
Right.
a couple weeks ago, I actually worked on my day off and I did a remote from 9 to 1. And then my coworker had one from 2 to 6. And so I had to go back to the station to opt the board for him. So I ended up working 9 to 6 that day on my day off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, small town radio is, you get to do a lot.
Right.
That is one thing about it. Like you get mad experience because, well, it's a small operation and people are expected to do multiple things. Whereas in a big market, you're responsible for your show and that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And you might not get other opportunities.
But, like I do production as well because we don't have a production department. So I produce commercials, produce and voice.
Oh, right. That's awesome.
That's like half my day is production.
That's bitchin'.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So the timing of this shift's not the best, but otherwise,
But in some
You're
ways it
enjoying
is
it.
because then I have the day free to do stuff
that's true.
once I nap.
I was just gonna say, and napping's dangerous because
Well, I don't nap so much as take light comas.
yeah, same. My naps just become 3-hour sleeps, like
Yeah.
minimum.
Like you wake up and you're like, what year is it?
It's so insane. Like sometimes I've had like the deepest sleeps that I've ever had with a nap.
Huh.
Like I'll just dream and dream and dream.
I wish
and
I
I'll
could do that
wake
on
up.
airplanes.
Oh my god, me too.
Can't sleep to save my life on those.
I can't sleep on really any transportation like device.
Oh, I
like
can sleep on the
car.
bus. I've
Bus,
straight up
no.
missed a stop before.
Really?
Yeah, not for a long time.
On a transit bus or like a
Yeah, like going from, I want to say, Bedford to Halifax or something.
Oh,
like that.
really?
Like a fairly long journey.
Mm.
And when I used to take Maritime bus back in the day, actually no, when it was Acadian Lines,
Oh,
I would fall asleep for that because that was like hours.
Oh, gee, Acadian lines.
And the bus would be empty enough I could take up like the whole back row and just lie down.
oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, which I guess is
See,
why they went out of business.
I would be able to rest and doze off, but I don't think I would ever fall asleep on a bus.
Well, I don't know how restful the sleep was. Like there may have been part of me that was still slightly aware.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you're doing.
Oh no, it's gone.
Oh, go get another.
BRB.
Sending a friend a message saying I have your bag of sex toys is something that I will cherish.
Hey there, intoxicated audience. That was going to be smooth. It wasn't. But that's okay.
Okay, there we go.
Have another one of these.
Now you're on to what kind?
I'm having this one because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like it. And I want to get it out of the way with. This is...
Hop?
I don't think this existed when I lived here. Hoppy Boy, or Buoy, if you will. Rough Seas or Snug Harbor. But yeah, it's, I assume, a very hoppy beer, which is not my favorite thing about beer. And I know that's like sacrilegious to craft beer enthusiasts everywhere, but fuck hops.
Well, let's get your reaction. Take your first sip.
All right, I need to gird my loins.
Here we go. And if it's a negative one, I won't tag Garrison in it. And if it's a positive one, I will.
Fair play. All right. Damn it, Garrison, you've done it again.
Is it good?
It is good.
Oh, yay! We have a win!
I can't believe it.
Oh,
Because that's
awesome.
like my least favorite thing about beers is
Garrison makes good shit, man.
I love
gotta
Garrison.
say. Yeah.
I love Garrison.
Yeah, shout out to Garrison. That's excellent.
I will say it's not my favorite of Garrison's, but
No.
it's much better than I was expecting.
But that's the good thing about what they have a variety of flavors. So
Very true.
depending on what your tastes are, like if you want a pussy light beer, like what I
Could have just stopped.
I
right there.
know. I kind of thought about it, and then I was like, no, we're about to talk about that.
Now I really hope my sister's not going to listen to this episode.
So, small town Fort Francis. What is it like trying to date?
Trying is the operative word.
It's why I use trying, because I know.
Well, I broke down and downloaded Tinder in February. And my progress since then has been about the same as what it was when I started. Because everyone is minimum 140 kilometers away. And most of them are in the States, because I live right on the border to Minnesota.
Right.
I went on one date where I drove like 2 hours to a place called Bemidji, and it was not worth it. Like, I hope she never hears this, but it was just like, I don't know. I think part of the reason was because I was realizing that I wasn't moving on from my last relationship still. And I just needed to get back out there, like whatever means necessary, you know?
So are you a believer in the whole saying that to get over someone, you have to get under
Someone else? No, I've never really subscribed to that just because I've always had a really hard time having casual sex, I guess. Well, not having it, but like
maintaining it.
Yeah, because I'm a pretty emotional person by nature, and I get
Same.
attached to people, and like it's not that I couldn't just sleep with anyone, it's that I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure
There's
I
nothing
could
wrong
have
with
gotten laid in Fort Francis if I really wanted to, but
that.
like,
I mean, I think
that would mean
anyone could
lowering my
get laid.
standards, and I don't want to do that.
Fuck that. I think anyone could get laid if they really wanted to, but like,
Especially
that's
when
no
I've
fun.
had a standard for that set previously. I don't want to go back beneath it.
What are your standards?
Like, in terms of sex or in terms of
Well, actually, let me
human connection?
Let me rephrase the question. Do you, when you're thinking of like a ideal relationship or an ideal partner,
Okay.
what's that person like?
If I had to combine celebrities, I would say a mix of Tina Fey, Emma Stone, and Jennifer Lawrence. For personality traits.
Well-
and looks, I guess, to a degree, because I find all of them attractive.
So, but I think
But no,
you like
intelligence is important, because
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think I could date anyone who's dumb. Because
No.
I have. Not any of my relationships previously, but like casual dating.
casual dating, yeah.
Yeah, no, I need someone who makes me think and who challenges me and
Yeah.
who cares about me. Obviously, that's a big one. But like, I don't know. I've come to realize I require a lot in relationships, like in terms of attention and affection and that kind of thing. But I also need someone who's going to communicate with me. Like, I can't take someone who will just shut down
Yeah.
when I need to talk about something.
Oh, I actually would totally agree with that for myself too.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I have dealt with that previously, and it's not fun. And I
No.
don't really care to do it again.
No.
And I don't know, someone who not only I can make laugh, because that is one of my goals, like just in life, like with friends or otherwise, but someone who makes me laugh. That
It's so
has become
important.
very important to me.
Oh, it's so important.
And like, physical attractiveness definitely plays a role. Like, I can't pretend it doesn't. But that's not the be all and end all.
And that's, I think, like why online dating is so hard. So if you are someone who,
Well, it's so superficial, right?
and if you are someone who
Surface level.
has the values like you have of like personality traits that are really important, like you can't tell that from an app. You see a picture and you're like, okay,
Unless
you can get
really
a general
talking
vibe.
to them.
Yeah,
But then you have to have established the connection first of you both swiping right to even have that conversation.
and that's physical. That's usually
So
purely
you
physical.
have to get past that first sort of hurdle before you can even figure out if they're going to be intellectually good enough for you.
And you know what? Some people just aren't good at texting. And so
Yeah,
then
true.
what happens is that you write someone off because of the texting thing. And they could have been maybe someone you would have really hit it off with, but because you never met up.
Oh God, now I'm like reconsidering all of the swipes I've made in the last week.
Well, I mean, it is tough. Like it's just a tough decision to make whether or not to meet up with someone. That's the first hurdle. And then you meet up with them and then it's, do I meet up with them again? And it's just this
My problem
constant
is
loop.
getting attached too quickly.
Oh,
Like if I find someone attractive both physically and emotionally and mentally, like it's over for me. You know,
Right.
like I'm into it.
yeah.
And it's something I've been working to curb because like I realized, you know, that I'm operating the same way in a lot of regards that I did when I was 16, you know?
I feel like you and I are very similar in that.
I'm a hopeless romantic and I know you are too.
I am too, but I also think that we are both people who crush really easily. Like we get crushes.
Oh, I fall in love like 70 times a day. Shout out to all the girls I've smiled at on the bus this week.
But honestly, have you ever looked into love addiction?
No.
So like that's something
Is that a thing?
It is a thing. I can pull up the characteristics right now if we want to diagnose you on the spot.
Oh God.
But I discovered it because what I realized was that like I always had, like, even though I've been single for 8 years, like haven't been in relationships, but I've been in like weird, complicated situationships or like friendships, but I've always liked someone or
Yeah.
was in love with someone.
See, that was me up
or
until
was
this last
pursuing
breakup.
someone.
It changed after this breakup.
Do you think it changed because there was no one around?
I mean, that was definitely a factor.
You're an addict who went to like a fucking.
But I mean, there were plenty of
Drug
straight
free
girls
zone.
for me to crush on, like circa high school. So, but I just wasn't. There was nobody really catching my eye until more recently.
Until more recently.
Yeah.
Right. But that's that's so tricky. Like the whole dating in a small town and like you're there's not a lot of options because it's already a small town.
I'm
and then
the lesbian in Fort Francis.
You're the lesbian.
I am the one who is out and single. Anyway,
You're the town lesbian.
I honestly am. Like even without the dating scene, like I'm very involved with Borderland Pride, and I am a very visible member of the queer community, and like I get involved in everything that goes on.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, no, it's been great actually. I've been surprised at how queer I've gotten to be. I kind of thought I would have to tone it down a little bit, but I've kind of become this like symbol in the town, and like,
well, it's a chance for you to be a leader in a way.
which is weird because I'm not accustomed to that kind of responsibility or I guess influence. But I've been enjoying it because, well, it was like something I said at the speech I gave at our Pride March this year. Excuse me. When I was growing up, I didn't have anybody in the community who was visibly queer or like that I could look up to. And so now I'm like really kind of striving to be that person that I didn't have that I needed.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Did you ever have anyone coming up to you like being like, thank you for being here, thank you for...
I've had like
That's
emails
amazing.
and messages on Facebook. I've had people come up to me at Pride events and drag events and all kinds of stuff, or just even to the station because I talk about queer stuff on air. And
Right.
I've had people like thank me for it. They're like, thank you for normalizing this.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And at your job, do you have the freedom to kind of talk about whatever stories you want? Sort of?
I definitely push those boundaries.
Yeah.
I was going to say more than I should, but I take that back because I should be.
Yeah.
I think the restrictions should be less.
Right.
Because any other radio announcer can talk about their heteronormative life with zero repercussions. So why can't I talk about my super gay life?
Absolutely. There's another. This is gonna be a ding heavy episode.
Ding-a-ling.
But yeah, back to the crush thing. Yeah, I feel like both of us are always. There's always someone or.
Yeah, I'm a terminal crush haver.
But
generally,
also too, I feel like people like us, like loneliness affects us more than others.
One is the loneliest number.
One is such a lonely fucking number. Ugh.
It was a good thing I got a cat last year.
I was just gonna say, how do you deal with the loneliness? Because moving to it, like, so you're already lonely, like emotionally, but then like you're lonely in the sense of like you don't have friends and family around you either.
Well, I really went through it last year, like especially after the breakup, because I was already miserable having moved there. But it was like, it was a move I was making for my career, and my partner at the time was supportive of it, and like I thought it was the right thing, and I still do. Like I don't regret it. But after living there for 2 months and then going through a breakup, like I hated it that much more because I didn't have my support network to get through all of that. And so I felt probably the loneliest I've ever felt in my life because literally everyone I knew and loved was thousands of kilometers away with no real, I guess, light at the end of the tunnel for seeing them.
And it's tricky too because the older we get, the less we want to talk over Messenger or like, do you remember the days of carrying full conversations on Messenger?
I mean, I still do that.
Do you still do that?
Well, especially because I've had a lot of friends who have moved like to other countries and things like that. So we've had to keep in touch that way. Like my friend Dana, for example, like she's been on fucking world tour since she graduated university.
Wow.
She's in Edinburgh now. But like she traveled all over the world, and Messenger was the main way we kept in touch.
Well, that's good that you did keep in touch because I do think that that's tricky these days.
Yeah, but I'm also I feel like an anomaly compared to most humans in that I am just in constant communication with a lot of people.
Right,
like that didn't really change for me after MSN Messenger went the way of the dinosaurs.
It's still.
Or if you want to go further back, ICQ.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh,
that
was like a Dottie. Uh-oh.
That was creepy. That was not me. I don't know where that came from.
I loved ICQ.
It was great.
It was so great.
But only like certain people I knew used it, so it was like a bit more exclusive.
A little more like edgy.
Cool kids.
Yeah.
And my cousin.
I liked how it like just opened up its own window. Like you had your own
Yeah.
window for like the chat that you were in. It was fucking great. But so you finally met people and went on some dates and now you're kind of dating, right? Is that what you would say? Kind of dating or dating? Yeah. It's tricky, right?
There is a person I am seeing casually, is
There
what
you
I
go.
will say.
Ooh! Well, this actually brings up a good
But I don't even know
question.
if I can say that.
So we are both people who get attached easily. We fall easily. We will probably fall in love with you within a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do casual when you're that not casual?
Well, that's something I've been testing while I've been in Halifax.
Interesting.
Because I'm only here for, until the 15th. And, I'm only in Halifax until this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's Wednesday today, so I've been here since last Wednesday also.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a week and a half is what I was in town for. And like I put right on my Tinder profile that I was only in town till the 6th. So like people kind of know what they're in for. Like I'm obviously not looking for a relationship or anything like that. So I did go on one date and I've got another one planned for this week. And it's just been interesting to sort of explore that side of things because I never have before. Like even when I lived here and I had plenty of fish, I didn't really do casual then either. Like there were a bunch of people that I went on like one date with and it was usually them who decided not to go on a second. One girl actually moved to Ontario and didn't tell me.
Oh my God.
Until I was asking for another date. And she's like, oh yeah, I moved back home. I was just like, so that's a no.
At least it was circumstantial and not, I didn't like you.
I don't think it had anything to do with me. It was just really weird that she didn't mention it.
Right.
You know? I don't know. She seems pretty flaky. In hindsight, though, I don't think we would have worked, so it's probably for the best.
It's just so interesting. Dating is interesting because it really is like you're shopping for intimacy.
Oh, God.
And like
that's depressing.
This is like how I've started to think about it, and it's not fully fleshed out yet, people. So this is not a final bit. But online dating is like, okay, how can I say this? You're online shopping, so you're shopping for an item, and
you're window shopping.
You're browsing Amazon, okay, and then you realize you finally find an item that you want to order, and ordering is going on a date in this situation. Okay. So this is all a metaphor, and then the shipping is pretty high, because time is precious. So there's already a pressure for the date to go good. Meanwhile,
I'm getting stressed out just listening to this analogy.
Meanwhile, your friends who just happen to find items on the street as they're walking by.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
They're now telling you, stop looking on the streets too.
I know. I've always been mystified by my friends who go from relationship to relationship or just go on a shit ton of dates and like are never attached. I'm like, how?
Or people who just find the love of their lives, like
or people
just through a chance meeting. Yeah.
That said, I guess that's happened to me a couple of times. Like, I've not been the one who's been pursuing, and I've been like gobsmacked that they like me.
Yeah.
Because I just always, that's my default, is assuming no one likes me.
Oh, I'll always assume no one likes me, and it's it's a big hindrance because I don't make the first moves. I assume that you don't like me, and then I'll just think about it and think about it and think about it. Like, that's why, like we were saying before that we recorded, like the green light, like having a little bit of a green light.
Like, I will not make a move to kiss you
That's
unless I know
crucial.
for sure you want me to kiss you.
Yeah.
Because, well, let's be real, consent is important.
Very
but also,
important.
I'm not that confident that I can just make that move without knowing what's going on up here.
I know. Yeah, it's
Which
so
is why I haven't in many cases.
it's so
FYI,
tricky.
ladies. Just tell me.
And then there's the whole people in relationships being like, well, just stop trying. And I just think if I stop
Also,
trying,
people in relationships giving single people advice is like, I don't know, zombies giving living people advice
seriously
on
though.
how to stay alive.
I don't, I have never met a single person be like, oh, don't worry, it'll happen when you least expect it.
No, that's true. That's relationship people giving that advice. That's like, it's by the same token as people when you're grieving and
Yeah.
they're just like, sorry for your loss. It's like, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
It's almost like you're doing it to get good person points. Like, there's no
I guess,
substance behind what you're saying.
and I guess it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Because
Also,
what would you say? Like, if you were someone who just lucked out big time, just found someone, like, what would you say to like the single person in your life that like really is a great person and should have someone by now but doesn't? I guess you know, their hands are tied in a way, because what do they fucking say?
Well, let's ask this. What do we want to hear?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, I would want, okay, this is what I would want to hear. Hey, Sarah, you're awesome, and I know someone who I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal, sure.
But I've only been set up once, and we went on one date, and then he was like, just friends.
Whenever my friends tell me I'm amazing in any capacity, whether it's my looks or my intelligence or my humor or any of that, I'm just like, great, thanks, tell your friends.
Right?
Like,
I think that
please.
single people want to know that the people in their lives that are in relationships are still looking out for them. And because we're at this weird age where, yeah, social life becomes less and less because more friends are getting married and settling down and having families.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, still, if you know Joe at the office that's pretty hot and single, fucking send him my way. What you doing?
I like that was gender neutral enough that it could work for either of us.
Oh, that's true. Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
Josephine.
Hit me up, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Joe's a hot girl name, too. I can picture hot girls being
Yeah.
named Joe.
I'm sorry, I'm like thinking of one.
But, like, it's just really tricky because when you've been alone and people ask you, like, what do you want? I kind of feel like being like, well, I don't have a lot of options. So I can tell you what I want, but, like, you're going to think its standards are too high. But the only reason the standards are high is because I've been single for so long.
And for me, I've had two relationships really that have been quite good. So I don't want less than that now.
Yeah.
I want
you've
either the same or better. Would
the
be
same
great.
or, well, yeah, and I think it would always be better because they ended for a reason.
And I know
so
it won't be the same because it can't be.
it would never be the same. No.
It's a different person.
What about like relationships? Like, well, you already said that you want a communicator. And you'd want monogamy, right?
That's something
think?
I have been turning over in my brain a lot recently because my ex is poly and decided to, well, she was kind of figuring it out when we got together, I think. And since we broke up, explored the poly thing, but is now in a monogamous relationship. And I've tried to do my own research into it. And I also have a friend who has routinely dated people who are poly. Like, she is more monogamous herself, but like she will date someone who's in a poly relationship. And just like hearing all of her stories and feedback about that, I'm just like, could I?
It's the big question.
Probably not. Just because I require so much emotionally, I don't know that I could make it work. Like, if I were to be in a poly relationship where my partner is, say, dating outside the relationship, I don't know that I could have the emotional energy
It'd
to
be so hard.
communicate all of the things. And I also feel like a lot of people who are poly haven't done that research. I don't want to pan the entire community because that's not at all my intention. But I know that there are a lot of people who will use it as an excuse to be kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Which is also true of anyone in a monogamous relationship. Like, people cheat all the time.
Yeah.
But communication is a huge thing, and you can't have a successful relationship in either scenario without it.
And I know what you mean, though. I think a lot of people, because it's trendy, I hate using that. It is a little trendy these days to be not monogamous.
Yeah. There's a lot of it on Tinder.
Tons of it. Tons.
But there's a difference between ethically non-monogamous and
poly. Yeah.
And just,
like
screwing
me,
around.
like me personally, like the idea of dating or going on dates, to me, that is not casual. When I think of casual, I think of casual sex. And I would not go on dates with the person I was having casual sex with. I would maybe be like, do you want to hang out sometime? Come over, hang out. Like, because I just associate... Okay, and I think it's because I associate being in public with someone. Oh, I just figured it out. Because I've been involved with so many unavailable people, I've always been kind of kept away.
You've been the secret?
I've been the secret. So I've been kept aside. So I associate being in public with someone as a privilege.
That is so sad, dude.
That is so sad. I just came to that conclusion just now. I just put it together. So I think that's why when I do casual sex, I don't really hang out. Like, it's like I have one fuck buddy that I've had since 2013, and he and I don't.
Wow.
We don't
That's a long-term fuck friend.
Long-term fuck friend. But like, we don't hang out as friends.
Been
like,
a
we
friend.
chat on Snapchat every now and then. But like, most times it's to arrange sex. So our relationship is very one track, but that's why it works for me, because I don't get attached that way. There's a separation.
Yeah, I guess when you were saying earlier about like having, this might have been before the podcast, I don't remember now, but something about whether I could have sex with someone I'm not like
emotionally connected
into.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have.
Yeah. See, it's weird.
But it hasn't been as good.
And my fuck buddy started off me liking, like, I had feelings for him at one point. I've gotten over those feelings. But, and like, that's why I think I might be a little demisexual, because I like people too easily.
Sorry,
that's
refresh
just what
me
it
on
is.
the definition again.
You need an emotional connection to be sexually attracted.
Oh, it me.
I think that
Actually, that's not true. I can be sexually attracted. Oh God, I don't know.
See what I mean?
I love women.
Well, and when I say, yeah, a person who does not experience sexual attraction unless they form a strong emotional connection with someone. Okay, I wouldn't use the word strong, and I also might not use the word emotional. For me personally, I am more sexually attracted to someone who I know more.
Oh, as opposed to completely anonymous.
Yeah. And I guess the knowing someone is kind of emotional.
I don't know. I managed to cuddle anonymously, and that was new for me.
Can we talk about this?
But it was actually really nice.
You went on a cuddle date.
Yeah.
Here in Halifax.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say who she is in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, but if she happens to listen to Intoxicated, oof, she's going to get a whammy.
I feel like she won't.
Okay.
No offense.
Good. Let's talk about her.
Shoot. Well, because it was something that was in her bio, and so I used it as like a lead-in for my first message. I was just like,
which is great tactic, by the way. Great strategy.
Because I'm a communicator.
Communicate. So she said in her bio that she likes to cuddle.
Yeah, something
after
like
a long
cuddles
day.
after work or whatever. And I was like, well, technically I'm on vacation, so every day is after work for me. So like, let's do this kind of thing. I definitely said it a little more smooth than that. But yeah, we hit it off right away, and she was just like completely down with meeting almost immediately. And I was like, how is this happening? Like, is it really this easy? Like, I've never experienced that. But I think the way I've been operating on Tinder while I've been in Halifax is very different from when I would any other time, because I know I'm only here for a week and a half. So the stakes aren't very high for me. It's just like, can I get laid?
Right, because you're going through a dry spell.
That's putting it mildly.
You're going through a drought.
Fuck. God. That's a very dire word, but it's accurate. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Man, dry spells really.
Yeah, it
do you
does.
find with dry spells that your horniness goes down too? Or
There's been periods where it has, which is weird for me because like any of my exes will tell you like I'm always ready to go.
Oh my god, I am too. It's really bad. It's kind of an issue.
Like
for
a little
me.
alarming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been the one in the relationship who wants it more and more often and for longer. The closest I got to an even match was my last relationship, which I think is why it's been extra hard
Right.
going from that to nothing.
Well, and especially if it's like a really good sexual compatibility, because then you're like,
It was.
because I don't know about you, but every time like I close a chapter of my life with somebody that I'm like, oh, that would have been the best sex ever. I'm like, am I gonna have that again with anyone? That's what I always think.
Well, that's the thing. Before this most recent, like, starting to go on dates, I had kind of resigned myself that I just wasn't going to date while I lived in Fort Francis. I was just like, it's never happening. It hasn't happened in over a year. It's not going to happen. And that was a really depressing thing for me because, like, in Halifax, sure, I had long periods where I was single, but I at least knew if I really wanted to try, I could make something happen with somebody. But in Fort Francis, there was literally no option.
It's like no choice.
Yeah. So then this other one coming out of nowhere was, out of nowhere.
God damn.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, that's. Does she live near you?
For Northwestern Ontario, yes. 2 hours away.
Oh God. That's crazy.
And I'm definitely not going to say more about her because she would not want that.
But you're seeing what it's like. You're getting yourself out there, and that's what matters.
I will say my confidence has gone through the roof while I've been in Halifax, just from the sheer volume of choice on Tinder and how well I've been doing with it. I'm
Can I
just
see
like,
your
all right.
Can I see your profile?
Yeah.
Let's do a little review
We're at 93%. I can unplug this.
of Caitlin's profile here.
Also, I would like to apologize in advance for my hair. It looked great this morning, but I've been out in the wind and humidity.
I think your hair looks great.
Oh, that's...
But everyone hates their hair, I feel like.
See, I'm usually pretty okay with mine. I wonder if I have any new ones since I've been here. Oh, I do. Look at that.
I was going to say, when you were swiping in Fort Francis, did you just run out of people?
Yeah, like days would go by and there would be no one new.
Oh my God, that's so depressing.
Sorry, I'm doing this. I should not be doing this.
Caitlin!
Okay. You want to look at my
Yeah, I want to
profile,
look at
right?
you. So show me you. Okay, so first picture. It's a very nice selfie with a bow tie. I'm going to hold it up kind of.
Oh my God.
So that people can see. That's a good first picture. I'll tell you why. Your face is in it, and you're a human.
And
so
I'm
good
not
job.
with other people.
Have you been finding a lot of really bad lesbian profiles?
Yes, almost exclusively.
So what are the common things that make a lesbian profile bad?
Saying you're looking for a third, or I'm not sure what I'm looking for.
Okay, so
Or-
that's like in the bio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have a lot of stereotypical? Oh shit. Do they have a lot of stereotypical pictures?
Well, the thing I think that bugs me the most is if it takes me more than one swipe of your pictures to figure out which one is you.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Fuck off with
That's
that.
annoying with any pro.
Because I know 9
any
times out of
profile.
10 they're doing it because like their friend is hotter or something, which is superficial of me to say, but it's also superficial of them to do.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, do you think I'm going to be tricked by your hot friend? Because you're going to be the one who shows up on the date.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why even bother with the pretense?
It's so annoying. I wish there was an option on Tinder that's like not left, not right, but I think your friend is hot. Like a button you press. That's
a girl came up who had one of my friends in her pictures, but I don't know her. And I was just
oh really?
I'm gonna swipe right just so I can, if she swipes right, I can be like, we both know him.
Yeah, it's a really good opener. Like yeah, when
Actually,
you have
the
that
date I have
connection.
tomorrow is with someone who knows one of my friends.
Oh, that's good.
So that makes me feel like safer about it a little bit.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, I know
it's like kind of like
gonna
a vetting.
stay alive.
A little bit of a
on
vetting
this
process. Let's see what else.
Oh yeah,
So we got the selfie. We got Caitlin on a boat.
on a boat, motherfucker.
On a boat.
Not my boat.
Which is also a like kind of like a full body shot, which is good.
Yeah,
you always
I don't
need
wanna
one of
be
those.
Deceptive. Like they're gonna know I'm a giant.
Oh, and with the kitty cat, cuddling with the kitty. Also a great picture.
Thank you.
Shows that you like animals, which is very important to you. That's actually a really good picture too. Oh yes, the selfie. Another good one. Another
from
pride.
So you know I am out and proud.
Pride photo.
I'm not going to be your secret.
Notice how Caitlin is the only person in all these pictures other than the cat that's not a human, because she's not trying to confuse you. She's trying to tell you, this is who I am. I'm Caitlin. There's no one else involved in this. It is just me.
This one is telling you I am a nerd for Marvel, and also I work at a radio station, if you can put that together from the background.
Hell yeah. Put in some of your profession or
This
your
one
hobbies.
I thought was just funny.
That's really funny.
It's from an awards thing that I went to, and they had little tiny Academy Awards, and so
I love it.
that's me, my acceptance speech face.
Lots of pictures, which is good. It's good to have a lot of pictures.
I went for the maximum.
With a hot dog. Okay? See, now, if you were a straight woman,
Double entendre.
if you were a straight woman getting messages from men with that picture, you would get a slew of, I bet you'd like a wiener in your mouth.
Thankfully, that has not
So
happened
I
to
have
me.
one of my hot dog pictures in my Tinder profile, and there was a really attractive guy who I matched with the other day, and I was like, please don't be creepy. Please don't be creepy. And he opened with, hey, how are you? And I was in the process of writing back, and then he sent another message. And it was, I bet you like wieners. And I went, Kyle, you ruined it.
Is that actually his name?
Yeah. I was like, dude, you are attractive. You didn't have to do much.
Okay.
And you ruined it.
I passed a truck earlier today that had like full monster decals on it, and I was like, someone named Kyle drives this truck. So it's extra funny that that's actually his name, and that's the last one.
That's you dressed up.
We'll just get rid of that note.
You dressed up, another tie. These are good pictures.
Christmas tie.
Overall, I give your pictures a 9.5 out of 10 because no one's perfect, but you're damn close to being
That's
perfect.
way higher than I was expecting, so thank you.
And now I'm going to read your bio
bio?
for everybody, if that's okay.
I'm on Intoxicated. I have no secrets.
I talk to a metal stick for a living, but mostly like talking to people's faces. I feel like that. I want to steal that for mine. Although I don't do this for a living yet. There were 420 characters left after that sentence, but now I've ruined it. I love music, cats, pizza, writing, nature walks, and just generally having a good time. Don't be shy, smiley face. In Halifax, visiting home until September 6th. Okay.
So my friend pointed out that just generally having a good time. She's like, is anyone ever gonna not?
I know, but
say that?
it's not it's fine. Like it's just one of those dating lines that I think
Like,
a
who
lot of
doesn't
people
like
would
generally
use.
having a good time?
Yeah,
Just
no.
like,
But I mean,
up.
but
I
I
tried
think
really hard.
It also shows in your pictures that you like having a good time because you look happy, you're having fun, you look like you're enjoying your life. So I think that
Well,
this
that is me 90% of the time, really.
absolutely. And that's wicked. And so then you do have that. Make sure to change that back when you go back.
Oh yeah. No worries.
Because a lot of people forget to do that, and it's funny because they're like, I'm in Halifax for a bit, and I'm like, you're 20,000 kilometers away.
You're full of shit.
So no. So how do you like Tinder generally? Do you like the experience of talking to strangers and swiping? Like the swiping part is what I feel like is really soul sucking sometimes.
It's like a little exhausting, especially just the sheer volume that I've had since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I think I've gone through everyone that's available, and like just a few are popping up now.
right.
But when like the first day I was here, I was just like, oh my God, it's never ending. Whereas in Fort Francis, I'd be like, I can go a week and no one new has shown up. Like I just don't
You should
open
get
it that
notifications
regularly.
when someone new joins Tinder. Or something.
Yeah, like I don't open it that regularly because I know there's no point.
Right.
Whereas here, I'm like, I've been kind of obsessively checking it. I'm not gonna lie.
And do you find, is Tinder like if you were like, say you were to stay in Halifax, are you someone who would make a point to swipe all the time, or like, because there's some people who just make it part of their life to just constantly be going on it.
I don't think it would be like a central part of my day. No.
Mm.
Because I would have enough going on with friends and things like that it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing.
I don't know. Guess I'd have to see.
Do you are you also someone who sends the first message, or do you wait?
I'd say it's about 50-50.
Yeah,
While I've been here, I've been sending more first messages than I probably normally would. Just
being a little more
because there's a
proactive.
time factor, you know.
Yeah.
But it's worked out well.
Girl,
for
gotta
me.
get it.
Yeah, like the few that I've messaged have messaged me back, and like 2 of them have agreed to dates. So
good luck. I'm rooting.
Thanks.
I'm like very much so rooting for you. And I hope that this fucking
I have like a whole
happens.
team of friends rooting for me.
Because-
Actually, the whole reason I'm doing this is because one of my friends was like, "You need to get laid on this trip."
You know what? There's nothing more. So, like, there's two schools of thought on, like, giving yourself a challenge or, like, giving yourself a goal. Because on the one hand, it's a lot of pressure. And if you don't meet that goal, then you'll feel crappy.
Disappointed.
But on the other hand, there is no better feeling than being like, I wanted something.
And I got it.
And I got it.
Yeah.
And I made it fucking happen.
Well, even
That's
if
a great feeling.
all it ends up with is that one cuddle date, I still feel pretty accomplished about that because that's more than I have had in over a year.
Hell yeah.
So, which is a pretty sad admission to make.
That's
but
not
also,
sad at all.
It is
Like,
what it is, you know?
I haven't had a lot either. Like,
Well, I miss platonic affection even because, like, my friends are all very affectionate people. But in Fort Francis, I found that really hard.
oh, interesting.
I don't know if it's like a geographical thing, like the town is more isolated, so the people are more isolated.
It could be, but like I think that you're a more
But I'm a very touchy-feely person.
yeah,
by
like
nature.
that would be one of your love languages probably is physical touch.
Oh God, I love affection
Yeah,
so much.
yeah. You need someone who can.
It's taking everything in my power not to cuddle you right now.
Aww, aw, Caitlin.
I'm really good at it.
I'm about words of affirmation, so just
Oh, I like that too.
just give me all the compliments and then maybe I'll
And
cuddle.
what's the other one? Acts of service.
Yeah, it's
See,
words.
I do that.
Words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, gifts, which I'm like, if your
God.
love language is gifts, go fuck yourself. That is so selfish.
But gifts doesn't necessarily have to be like monetary gifts. A gift could be like making someone breakfast.
See, to me, that's acts of service.
Oh, okay.
See, gifts to me implies like I'm giving you an
Material
object
things.
or like I'm
Okay.
giving you a physical
Okay.
thing. And then quality time is the other one. Like, and that's probably up there for me too, because like I just don't, like, I haven't really spent quality time with guys. So
Can you?
I want, is this possible? It's so funny because it's just like, I do think that I'm a pretty simple chick in terms of what I want.
I do too. And
But,
yeah,
like,
it's so hard to find
it's
my criteria.
so
in a
hard.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if I find it in the person, they don't want me.
I know, right? I feel that.
Notes.
I feel that.
So listen, that's empty.
Get another.
Am I getting trashed on this episode?
I mean, there's 4 more drinks in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Get one
BRB.
more, and when you're done that one, we'll stop it. How about that?
All right.
Are you someone who's good at meeting people in real life? Like, being in situations or like... Because I was at the bar the other day, and I realized that whenever I think about, like, meeting someone at a bar, I think it's, like, this big, scary thing. And then I realized, like, you just gotta stand at the bar and literally just... Like, I was at the bar, and this guy took a drink of his beer, and it, like, went down his face. And we both kind of had this moment of, like, LOL, that just happened.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I was like, oh, this is how you meet people. Like, you just take advantage of these little situations.
That is something I
and
do.
strike up a convo.
Yeah.
And it's really not that hard. It's just you got to be putting yourself. And I made a point to look at him too in the eyes and smile, which I never do. So my plan is to just keep doing things like that.
I actually had a moment like that in the grocery store a few weeks
Did
ago.
you really? I always wonder about grocery store
Well-
meet cutes.
Excuse me. Hang on. I'm going to take it away from the mic because... God, excuse me. Sorry. Whew.
Beer man
Yeah.
gets you gassy.
And pizza before this.
Oh
Not
yes,
a
we
good
did.
combo.
We did have pizza before recording.
No, it was one of those, like, you almost expect to see it in, like, what's his name? The guy who does, like, Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service and all that, the anime cartoons. But, like, his whole thing is about, like, the everyday mundane details, and that's a thing that is a central portion of his filmmaking. So I felt like I was in one of those movies when this happened. So I was getting a couple of ears of corn, putting them into a bag. And, like, they were full ears, like they hadn't been shucked or anything like that. So the ends were pointy. And so I put it in the bag, and, like, it immediately fell out of the bag because it made a hole from the end. And it just, like, fell on the floor. And I was just like, of course. I, like, laughed to myself about it. And then this woman was, like, over by the apples and avocados and, like, saw it happen and, like, laughed along with me, like, caught my eye. And I was just like, whatever. Like, I was hoping no one saw that. And then she was just like, no, actually, it was like, I enjoyed the way you reacted.
Right.
Because she's like, a lot of people would just be like, but you like had a little laugh at yourself about it. And like, not everyone can do that. And I was like, well, thank you.
Aww.
And then I kept running into her in the other aisles. And then she's like, I'm going to have to start charging for these meats. And I was just like, fuck. But then on the way home, I was like, why didn't I keep talking to her and like ask for her number? She was cute. Like,
that's the thing.
I am
that's
terrible at closing the deal. That is my
Same
thing.
here. I am not a closer. I'm really good at giving flirty vibes.
Yeah.
But see, my
I can
thing
be cute
is,
as fuck. I just can't finish it.
when I give flirty vibes, I'm expecting you to pick them up and do something with them.
You're not the initiator.
I don't like to be, and I don't find it like it's just tricky
I
because
am and I'm not. It really depends.
I if you give me the first initiation, you better believe I'll initiate everything else. But I need the first one. Do you know what I mean?
I just had a visual in my head.
Like, give me the
Very
first
graphic.
kiss, and then I will straddle you. But I need the first kiss. Like, it's just one of these. And I also am like really, I'm more attracted to more dominant men.
I can't say that.
What about like dominant women? Like, would you be, or are you more dominant?
I like a woman who doesn't need me. But wants me.
Yeah.
Just like women.
Do you think like, okay, so dry spell, so you haven't banged in a while.
No, let's bring that up more.
Do you think you'll be nervous for when it, because it will happen. I have faith in this trip that it will happen.
Well, it may happen tomorrow.
Will you be very nervous?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
But once things are happening, I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike.
I mean, I've never had any complaints, so
There you go.
I know I'm okay at it, at the very least.
Oh my gosh, Caitlin. I'm isolated. I should have just isolated these clips.
God. I mean, do what you want. Like, you have free
And
reign.
you know what? This
my
episode-
episodes, I never am like, oh, take that out.
And this episode will go up on the Friday. And at that point, you'll still be here for another night. So if anyone listening to this episode wants to get together with Caitlin,
My number is
you can add her to Instagram.
Jack__Doff.
Oh, question. Are you
Yeah.
still doing drag?
Yeah,
You've
I've actually
dabbled in a bit.
I've gotten to perform in Fort Francis.
Hell yeah, how was it?
Awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, that's how I met the girl I'm friends with at this
The
point.
girl you're the situationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she came to my drag
It's such a
brunch.
great word to describe
It's good. And
everything
I love,
that isn't a relationship.
I love just language and like bastardizing it. Like, I'm a pretty cunning linguist myself.
Oh shit.
I can't even take credit for that joke. It's very old.
Yes, very, very.
But yeah, no, because last year Fort Francis had its first Pride ever.
Yes.
So I got to MC the parade and I got to perform at the drag show.
That's amazing.
And or march, not parade. And as far as we know, it's also the only Pride march that crosses an international border. I can't words.
Border.
Because we start on the state side and then cross over to Canada.
Right.
Which is pretty ballin'. Takes a while though, because everyone has to go and like get their passport checked and all that jazz.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like a little buzzed.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast.
I really don't drink anymore either, so like I'm kind of a lightweight now.
Oh, you don't? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess.
I'll have like
I feel like the Maritimes just amps up drinking no matter what.
it's part of the culture here.
It's
Yeah,
totally
100%.
part of our culture.
Whereas Fort Francis, like they roll up the pavement at like 5 p.m.
They what? The pavement?
Roll up the pavement.
What does that mean?
Everything shuts down.
Oh, that's a phrase for everything shutting down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Is there any type of nightlife there? Like anything you can
Actually,
do? Like,
in terms of live music, we've done pretty well, especially recently, because there's a venue in town, Rainy Lake Square, which is outdoors, and it has a stage and everything. And actually, the shirt I'm wearing, I don't know if you can wait.
yes. My son, the
No, it's better this way.
hurricane.
My
There you
Son, the
go.
Hurricane. They're from like the Niagara region, I think, of Ontario. Southern Ontario, anyway. And they're incredible. Like, they're a 1,000,000-piece band because they have like a full brass section and everything.
Nice.
So I think there were like 10 or 11 that came to the square, and I don't think that's everyone that performs with them. But they're this weird mix of like hip hop and ska.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like really intense, and their live show is just like energy.
Yeah, I'll have to check them out on
they
the
incorporate
Spotify.
dancing and like all kinds of stuff into their act.
Ooh.
God, excuse me.
I'm gonna look them up and see if they're on. Do you know if they're on Spotify?
I want to say probably. They're definitely on YouTube.
And then I have an important question for you.
Okay.
On the subject of getting busy and getting laid and prepping to get laid.
Yeah.
Do you have a prepping to get laid ritual?
I mean, like minimum shower.
Good for you.
Actually,
Where's your medal?
I did some grooming before the trip because I hadn't in some time, because I was like, what's the point? I'm the only one seeing those parts.
Oh, that kind of grooming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm prepared in that regard. You know, like I'll try not to eat anything that's going to make me gassy.
I would just end it at eat. If it was me. I'm so
no,
like...
eating is part of the process once we get going.
Oh.
With any luck.
Caitlin. You're killing me. Do you amp yourself up? Like, I was just thinking,
like, do I look in the mirror like, you got this?
You and I are music friends, like we love music. Do you have a sex playlist? This is my question. Or can you think of songs that might be on your sex playlist?
I'm just thinking about a station I used to put on Slacker Radio. I wish I could remember what it was called because it had a ridiculous name. But it was like very clearly like slow jams. Like it was meant for bumping and grinding.
Bumping and the grinding?
I can't remember what it was called. Fuck.
Where is...
Dirty something, hot something.
I can name a couple... I don't even actually have a lot of songs on my sex playlist.
But it was like a lot of 90s R&B. And
okay. like Pony?
No, not that song in particular, but...
That's too on the nose, I think.
Like Next, Too Close.
Ooh.
That kind of vibe.
That's good. I have Ariana Grande's Side
Pony,
to Side.
I feel is like a little too heavy-handed. Oh,
yeah.
Like me.
I have Closer by 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, yeah, it's a sexy song.
Get Naked by Britney Spears, which is not a single of hers, but it's from her Blackout
it is a
album.
Super hot song.
Have you heard that one?
And no, but are you familiar with Jackalope? She was a Canadian artist.
Feel It?
Yes. Actually,
yep, Feel It's so good.
Not a sex song for me so much as a
masturbation song?
Yeah.
Yay! I guessed.
Oh
that pause was longer
Am
than
I
it should have
12?
been.
Yeah, like I can talk about this.
No,
stuff.
that's a great sexy song. I actually don't think that's
There's a
on
very specific
Spotify.
portion of the song that like doesn't matter what mood I am in or what I've been going through. My brain, I think, it's almost like a Pavlovian response to that portion of the song is like
interesting
orgasm.
Really?
Yep.
like you don't have to do anything and it just happens?
I wouldn't say that.
But
like I don't have to do anything extra.
It turns you on.
Like my brain knows it's coming and it's like you're ready.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shocking. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's any songs that do that for me.
It was with a lot of practice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on with me.
I was single for a lot of my early 20s, so I had a lot of time to get it in.
Like, having that time with yourself is so important.
That's how I feel about the last year of my life. I've gotten very in tune with Caitlin.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of growing.
That's
I am not the person I was a year
good
ago.
part of being single, I think.
No, it is. And I also am way less tolerant of bullshit now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just in general in my 30s. Like, 30s has been a fucking great decade so far, and I'm only 3 years into it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm at 32, and 32 has been the most bullshit, terrible, heartbreaking year of my life. But
I mean, I guess 32 was for me as well, because that was last year.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I just have to ride out the storm.
It's coming.
We both side-eyed the camera. You guys have to actually watch this one on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio of this, you need to go and watch it because there's a lot of visuals, I think, for
My
this
facial
one.
expressions are world-renowned. I have no control over it.
So are you someone who likes to be single?
No.
Yeah,
I fucking hate it.
I fucking hate it too.
Not,
And I think
actually,
it's so cool to love it.
But
I wish I loved it.
I've come to a point where I've started to enjoy being single, but it's still not what I want. Like, I know I want a relationship. I know, at least I'm fairly confident I eventually want to get married. I've gone back and forth about that more recently.
Really?
Well, just because the last several people I've been with haven't wanted to. And I'm just like, why do I want to? So it's like forced me to look at my reasons, because I've been that person just my whole life. I'm going to get married. That's just what I'm going to do. And I never really thought twice about it.
Right.
Same with kids, which is something I'm also thinking twice about now.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking twice in the sense of, like, you might not want it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know for sure I don't want to carry the kids. I've known that for a really long time. Pretty much since I learned what pregnancy entailed when I was 5.
Oh my God, it's a horror show. It's a horror show.
But in terms of marriage, I guess part of the reason I wanted it so bad is because I had a reasonably okay example of it in my own life. Like, my parents stayed together, and that's pretty rare for our generation. Like, they were together 35 years until my dad passed away.
That's very rare.
So, and I also feel like it gave me kind of an unhealthy expectation, because they also had a very romantic origin story. Like, they met in the UK, because my dad had moved there to live with his parents for a bit after he had some rough times in Ontario. And he met my mom through mutual friends, and they started going on dates. And within 4 months, they were engaged. And my mom uprooted her life and moved to Canada for him.
Whoa.
They got married and had kids a couple years later.
See? Found the love. They just knew. Like, they just knew.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Like, the way they got engaged was neither of them proposing. They stayed up all night talking. And, like, as the sun was coming up, they were like, yeah, this is something we should do.
I love that. I love that, because that's
so that
showing
being
that
the
it's like
setup for
a
love
mutual.
for me is such a fucking high mountain to attain that I have never reached.
I was actually listening to a podcast with a comedian who recently got engaged, and he proposed on stage to her.
That's rough if she says
and,
no.
Well, what I loved about it was, like, she turned around and he was on one knee, and it was like there was no time whatsoever. She just went and hugged him. Like, there wasn't even a moment of, like, yes. Like, it was just a hug. And it was clear to me that, like, they had talked about it. I like the idea of a surprise proposal. Like, I like the idea of being surprised, but it shouldn't be. The idea of marrying that person shouldn't be a surprise. That should be talked about.
Shouldn't be a surprise.
Yes,
the location, the timing, sure,
should be. And it was just really sweet, because she got down with him and hugged him. It was real. Like, I want to link below to that, because that was such a cute proposal.
Because I want to see it now.
And I just thought that was so, like,
for them.
Because so many times you see proposals that are like, oh. Okay, yes, I say yes. And it's just like I don't know. Like,
how real is that?
Of course you're saying yes. Like, I don't know. Maybe sometimes. I mean, I'd like to know the stats on proposals that don't go well. But I think for the most part, if you propose,
I feel like most people don't talk about it because it's so fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, like, just the idea of, like,
do this on.
Oh yeah, go
I'm
nuts.
doing it.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Burt's Bees, hook me up. I like your pomegranate.
Oh, hell yeah, pomegranate, sponsor us.
Man, you can tell I've had beer or sun, because red.
I actually do agree with you, though, because I think marriage is tricky, because we see the Instagram marriages, we see weddings, I think, and we associate that with marriage.
Yeah, I just went to one over the weekend and I fucking bawled my eyes out. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, right. I actually do love weddings too. Like, I genuinely love going to weddings, but
I like dancing at weddings. That's my thing.
Yeah. But the older I get and the more alone I am, the more I'm like, I really don't know if I care so much about that as so much as I just want to find a partner that I can just be with. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think I'm looking for a friendship that satisfies me in the bedroom. That is what I'm looking for.
Well, no, I mean, I think all of us
want someone to spend time with.
Want the love of our life to be our best friend.
Yeah.
Whether or not that person was your friend first, or if you dated them and they became your best friend.
Yeah.
Like, that's the ideal kind of love, like, where you just genuinely like hanging out and then you bang each other's brains out and it's great. But it's tricky to find that in all forums, right? Like, it's tricky to find someone that checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
They might check the really good sex box, but then they suck at everything else.
Or vice versa.
Which would be so unfortunate.
Which I feel like is what I am for a lot of people. I check all of the boxes, like emotionally and all of that kind of stuff, but then they're not attracted to me, so that's where it ends. You know?
No, I feel that too for me though.
I'm a niche market.
I'm also a niche market. I'm an acquired taste.
You're a grower, not a shower.
Sometimes I force myself into people's lives and I'm like, God damn it, you're gonna like me.
See, that's what I'm like with friendships. I'm just like, once you have me, you're not getting rid of me because I'm an excellent communicator and I will not let you fucking drop off the face of the earth.
You're like the
You're stuck
herpes
with
of
me.
friends.
I am. It's true. But many of my long-standing friends will tell you that they appreciate that. And they're like, I'm glad you didn't give up.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, someone has to do it. Someone has to be the
I put a lot of work into maintaining my friendships, and that's astounded a lot of my partners. Because a lot of the people I've been with haven't had those kinds of friendships in their lives, and they're just like in awe of me. I'm like, it's because I put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you gotta. Because otherwise life's going to catch up and then you're just going to drift apart otherwise.
Well, I personally have no room for a friendship that's not a two-way street anymore. Like, fair weather friends, any of that. I'm just like, you can stay on the periphery. Like, I'm not going to give you my time if my time isn't valuable to you.
I actually totally agree. And it's so liberating to like do friendship inventories and sort of determine, okay, these people aren't giving me what I'm giving. Mm-hmm. So like, and when that happens, do you just kind of not talk to them or do you actually message them and say, we're done here?
Well, I mean, it's also not that the balance doesn't shift from time to time. Like, if I'm going through a rough time, I will need more support. If they're going through a rough time,
that's a
they'll
balance.
need more support, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to a point where I'm just very honest with people. I'm like, I feel like you're being shitty. And if it's not going to change, then I'm out.
I think that comes with being in your 30s.
100%.
Because can you imagine being that way in your 20s?
No,
Like,
I was a fucking doormat in my 20s.
Same here.
And I don't want to be anymore. So I've fucking started standing up for myself and I'm getting pretty good at it. And it's not just with friendships. It's like in work and in dating and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Having my own morning show has been like a huge confidence boost in general.
Well, I think you're in a career that you love.
And
you're
performing
given
drag before that.
And
We started to
drag
change things.
and being like a kind of more of a leader in your small community, probably too.
Yeah. I guess I wouldn't have said that about myself. But now that you're saying it,
I
it's
love
true.
when this happens on the podcast when people reach realizations. Just like I realized that
there should
going
be
out in public is a form
special
of
graphic
validation.
For epiphany.
Yeah,
Just
like a firework or something. Yeah. No, but it's true though. Like I think sometimes when you're not used to having that confidence, things like the word leader it's a little like, oh well no, like I'm not.
Imposter syndrome.
But then if you think about it, like you are. You know? Like I think we sell ourselves short like way too fucking much.
I'm my own biggest critic. For sure. There's no question.
Yeah, I am too. I would leave myself a 1-star review on iTunes for sure.
Shit, dude.
I got my first 1-star
Wait,
review
is it
the
out
other
of 5?
day. What's that?
Is it out of 5?
Yeah.
You should at least get to a point where personally you can give yourself a 3.
That's what I should be going for is a 3-star review.
Don't
of
set
Sarah.
it sky high. Like, 3 is attainable for your own self-esteem, I feel.
It's just tricky. Like it's tricky. How the fuck do you stop hating yourself? Like I truly don't know.
Let's ask society.
Yeah. I just don't like listeners listening. Let me know how I should stop hating myself because I just gonna Caitlin doesn't have that problem.
No, I love myself.
Is there anything you don't like about yourself?
Oh, tons. Yeah. Sure.
What are they?
Like a list. There are times I wish I wasn't quite so emotional and like sensitive and vulnerable, but at the same time I also know that's what makes me me.
Yes.
Like I am that exposed nerve that everyone has as their friend and like
oh shit, that metaphor. Oh fuck.
Like I said, cunning linguist.
An exposed nerve.
That's me. That's
Can
what I
you
am.
elaborate on what that means?
It means I feel everything.
Yeah, I feel that. You and me are so. You're a Pisces too. So
no, I'm an Aries actually.
Oh shit! Wait, yeah, your birthday's the end of March, right?
Yeah, March 29th, day after Lady Gaga.
You're close to Pisces.
Same year. She was
Okay.
born a day before me. That's how she got the heads up on her career. Nothing to do with my prowess.
Not at all.
It's all her being born first.
That's interesting. I often think about the emotional thing And
Well, just because I've been told I'm too sensitive or like I get too attached, and it's just like I want someone who's not going to tell me that.
yeah, and well,
Someone who accepts me for who I am.
someone told me this recently. They're like, if you were ever to date someone, you would need someone who is also emotional on some level. Like,
or you'd need the polar opposite to balance you.
see, I personally don't think so, because I
No?
don't think people who are, how do I say this? Like, people who, if that person isn't emotional, they had better be experienced in dealing with emotional people. So maybe it's somebody who grows up with emotional sisters or emotional mother.
Is a counselor
or-
by profession.
Yeah, something like that. Like you need, like they need to, and also too, I think that the word emotional has a bad stigma on it.
It does.
because
It has a negative connotation.
People assume
Emotions
it's-
are not bad things.
It's not at all. And this could be like, you could meet someone who, like, really, to me, anyone who's speaks passionately about something, to me, that's emotion. So it doesn't have to be that they're crying all the time or
No.
they're getting mad all the
No,
time.
I get passionately happy.
Like,
too.
you can be emotional and not moody.
Yeah.
I think that, like,
Yeah, I
there's a
wouldn't describe
difference.
myself as moody. Definitely not.
Oh, I'm moody. I'm all of it.
I mean, I do have depression and anxiety, so like I have moods, but I wouldn't call myself moody.
Yeah.
And I've also gotten a lot better at dealing with both of those things because I did go to counseling for 8 months while I was living in
How
San
was
Francisco.
that?
Well, it was an interesting experience.
Yeah. Did you deep
To
dive
say
into
the
your
least.
childhood?
We ended up doing so because as part of my counseling, I ended up doing a grief counseling program,
Uh,
kind of belatedly to deal with
your dad.
my dad and my friend Chris. They both passed away within 2 months of each other back in 2012.
Right.
That's who this tattoo is for.
Very nice.
Whoopsie doodles. I was out of character for this. I should have said fuck. Anyway,
Oopsie doodles.
so it was like this eight module thing. Like it was a workbook that we went through. And
Oh, shit.
So it was 8 sessions. So it was like each week was a session. So over a period of 2 months, I did it,
Really?
and it was like it was pretty raw, and some stuff got brought up from my childhood that I had like A, forgotten about, and B, never processed.
Oh, God.
And it wasn't anything to do with my dad or Chris. It was just, well, I may as well just say part of it anyway.
Yeah.
I had a family friend who committed suicide, and I was 11.
Shit.
And I realized kind of in hindsight, I had been idolizing this guy. And then I was just like, this fills in a lot of blanks about my own feelings about suicide.
Really?
Yeah. I was
That's
just
such
like,
a young age.
well,
I love
yeah.
that.
And like, it never occurred to me that I didn't, process it at the time because
Right.
I was 11 and I don't really remember having any conversations about it with my family or with anybody else. But like, I had this guy's memorial service program pinned to my wall, like above my bed.
Interesting.
And ooh, this got really real.
Yeah, no, I love this. I love getting real.
And I realized that I had a lot in common with him. Like he was a
Oh.
life of the party kind of person. He had everybody laughing when we went out to dinner with him. Like he and I connected, like he was laughing at my jokes. And I realized like, oh my God, like no wonder I connected with him. No wonder I am that kind of person, you know?
Right.
Because, well, it's been said more and more in recent years with mental health stigma getting lessened. Like all of these entertainers that we've known over the years, like Robin
Comedians.
Williams, for
Yeah.
example. Like they are so busy entertaining everybody else, they don't take care of their own mental health. And I was just like, oh, it me.
And those are the people that carry the weight of life harder than anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
And unfortunately, then if your mental health is not in check, then that's when the suicide can happen.
Yeah. So I've now kind of, having had that realization, I'm like, okay, I am an entertainer. I am a creator by profession. And like, just, that's kind of just who I am, even without the job, you know?
Absolutely.
So I need to be careful about that balance. I can't give too much of myself to the job
Absolutely.
or it'll burn me out and I will end up in a dark place I don't want to be that I've been in before.
And you got, you gotta take time for you.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I think that's come out of that is learning to say no to stuff.
Oh, it feels so good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like
it
when you
does.
say no to something you don't want to do, it's the best feeling. Like when you can get over that hump of like trying to please other people.
Because I have always been a people pleaser. I've been a fucking doormat.
I'm not gonna read them on this podcast, but I'm gonna send you the link. to the signs of love addiction, because I think you might find that. I'm not saying that I think you're a love addict, but you might identify with some of the symptoms.
Okay.
It's
I'm sorry. This one.
it's interesting.
is bugging me. Where is it? I get this like Superman curl. It's like right in the middle.
My hair is like
Thankfully,
very frizzy too. It's humid here in
most
Halifax
chicks
as
dig
well, so I feel like that is an issue today. But
sorry,
that's
I just stared right at myself.
that's awesome that you're in therapy though. That's great.
I'm actually not anymore. We finished up July 4th.
When you were done.
Independence Day.
Oh,
That's kind of funny.
Someone get the independence. So how do you deal with depression? That's a good question.
Sorry, there's a Tinder notification.
Ooh. I won't keep you much longer. Let's just talk more about depression first.
Yeah, no, that's where my brain's at now. Is depression.
How do you deal
with depression? Honestly, my anxiety kind of took center stage more recently.
Oh yeah,
the depression wasn't as forefront. How do I deal? That's actually a really good question, because I've come to a point, and that's why I stopped the counseling, was because I sort of checked in with her at what ended up being our last session. I didn't know it was when I went into it. I was just like, I feel like I've been doing really well at coping recently. I've developed better strategies to cope. And then as I was talking to her, I had this sort of epiphany. Like as I was saying the words, like, I think I'm a lot better now at recognizing it for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, this is depression. This is anxiety. This is not me. So being able to kind of be outside of it, I don't get as bogged down by the fact that it's happening.
Yeah.
And I can kind of
compartmentalize
objectively look at it and be like, okay, this is happening. It's temporary. You're going to get past it.
That's such a key thing, is that knowing that it's temporary.
Yeah, because before I would just get so bogged down in it. I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to be forever.
Yeah.
And then that leads you to feeling pretty fucking hopeless.
It just starts this vicious cycle.
Yeah,
I think
you
it's
spiral.
I think it's tough sometimes to think it's temporary when it's been going on for so long.
Oh,
and
of course,
it's,
yeah.
like such a huge. But for me, like personally, like I cannot say enough, like just the importance of doing simple tasks, and that can be
like showering,
like literally whatever it is, like
or washing your dishes.
When you have depression, when you're looking at your list of things to do, they all seem equally as hard. Like doing your taxes is just as hard as doing the dishes. And but if you can just do one of those things, do the dishes, clean the table, you know, like anything, get out of the house and go for a 15-minute walk. You did something. You know what I mean?
Even
like,
if it's just getting out of bed.
It's so important. And I
feeding
know
yourself.
how hard it is, though. Is the
Yeah,
thing.
100%.
I
This is also the first time I've lived completely alone. So that's been
tough.
Something I've had to learn how to do.
But kitty cats help.
Definitely.
Kitty cat, get a cat. They help.
Because I didn't have her for April, May, June, July. Yeah, the first 4 months I lived in Fort Francis. I had nothing and no one. Oh, oops,
really? No worries. It won't. It won't
just
pick
brought
up
it
much.
closer to me. So
yeah, Kim.
It's probably for the best anyway.
Come closer to me.
This one's for the lovers.
Ooh. Have you listened to Taylor Swift's new album?
Yeah, I listened to your live stream.
But have you sat down and listened to it privately with yourself? Because that's the most important part.
I'm definitely not emotionally ready for that on this trip. There's already so many emotions I'm not processing from seeing all of my old haunts and
when you get back to Ontario, listen to Lover, because it is such a good album.
Okay.
Holy shit.
For you, I will.
It's so good. I'm obsessed. And I'm also obsessed with Lana Del Rey right now.
I just never got into her.
See? I was never into her either. And then
although I
gave
did like
her a chance.
Summertime Sadness.
Summertime Sadness is great.
Catch too.
This like most recent album that she has out, oh, it's so good. Music can truly, I think music's another thing that gets me through it.
I forgot to say, like at the beginning of this, when I was turning onto Olivet Street, Third Eye Blind came on shuffle.
Shut the fuck up.
Not even joking.
That is crazy. So we should tell people who don't know. So Caitlin and I bonded over Third Eye Blind. In fact, I would say that like we were only like sort of friends before we went to see their concert
because we were friends of friends.
Friends of friends.
Prior to
like
that.
Facebook friends.
Acquaintances.
And then Third Eye Blind really like
solidified our friendship.
Yeah, we went to a show together, and then ever since then it's been It's been music soulmates.
Yep.
Pretty much.
/ recurring podcast guest.
Yes, how fucking this is number 4, baby. Yeah, no,
Is
third
that a
milestone.
milestone? I feel like 5 is like
5 would be probably
I'll
the
get a
big
pin.
one. Yeah, you'll be back. Hopefully, the next time you're on, you'll be living here again.
Never say never.
Never say never, in the words of the Beebs.
I have so many celebrity comparisons, and all of them are male.
Oh,
I don't know how to feel about it. Like the most recent one is Will Byers from
Byers.
Stranger Things.
Oh, interesting.
Like me as a kid, and I see it. Like that one is definitely accurate.
Yeah.
But like Daniel Radcliffe,
Oh my god, that's funny. Just
Elijah Wood when I was a kid, and now they get compared. So like, I guess there must be some fruit to that hypothesis.
I think, I mean, at least they're attractive people.
I could do worse. Yeah,
You could do like it's tough. I feel like telling someone that they look like someone famous is always a really tricky situation. Like you kind of have to know how that person feels with that person
roll
before you
those
say,
dice.
right? It's tricky. It could get awkward really fast. We're gonna wrap it up though, because I gotta get to Beerly's comedy, and Caitlin's gonna come with me, so that's gonna be fun. But Caitlin, thanks so much for coming back on the show, man.
My pleasure.
It was a pleasure to have
I
you
was
and
like-
get kind of deep and dark, but I loved it.
Yeah, that took a turn I wasn't expecting.
I loved it though. I love getting into this stuff. Tell the people where they can find you on the social medias.
Well, if I might give my radio station a plug.
Yes, please do.
It's 93.1 The Border in Fort Francis, 93.1theborder.ca. And I do have a blog, and I write in there fairly regularly because I have to. we have a quota per
That's
week.
a fun thing to do.
Yeah, we got a new website that was launched in March, so that was a new portion, but I get paid the same.
Oh, that's awesome. That's wicked.
But as far as drag and stuff goes, if you're interested in that, all of that will be posted on my Instagram, which is Jack__Doff.
Jack__.
Because some
Duff.
13-year-old kids fucking took Jack Doff.
Those fucking newbies. That's great though. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
And do me the honor of ringing that bell.